Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Let's call our library building committee meeting to order. Welcome everybody to the Wintonberry Conference Room, otherwise known as Conference Room 5. We all have names now, so that's great. Okay, old business, approval of minutes from
So moved.
February 26th, moved by Mr. Ike. Second by Mr. Berman. Anybody have comments, corrections?
Mr. Chair, I do. On page 8, or
Yes.
page, I'm sorry, page 6.
Page 6.
Lynn Garrity asked for revised budget for Prosser. I believe that's from Downs to rectify the accounts.
Where are you?
The
on
budget
page
from
6?
the Prosser Library.
I wasn't sure about that.
That's what I put down, the budget from the Prosser Library.
Prosser Library? Okay.
Yeah. I'll add library in there.
Here, Glenn Garrity asked for revised budget
Okay.
from Prosser.
Prosser.
For Prosser.
Yeah, I was confused.
For Prosser.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
That was one.
That clears that one up.
Anything else, Bob?
Yeah, that's all I had.
I have one on page 8. In the middle, number 6, other business from the committee, the first line. There is the word there, should be THEIR. That's all I have. Anybody else?
No, I didn't see it.
Mr. Ike, Mr. Berman, you good with the corrections?
I am.
Yes, sir.
All right, all in favor of approving minutes as corrected, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, we are unanimous. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, you didn't vote. You abstained. I thought I saw your lips moving. Okay. Okay, we have one abstaining. By the way, Robert's rule says you can vote yea or nay if you're not at a meeting. You can still approve or disapprove of minutes. So it's not mandatory. It's your choice. Your choice. Okay. All right, on to new business. Let's go to Anthony from Downs, and I see Johnny Downs here as well.
Right, Anthony.
All right, everybody. Let me just share my screen here, pull up the agenda. There's hard copies here for everybody if you see one in front. All right, first things first, general construction update. Interior mock-ups are being completed for interior finish as we progress. That's more interior mock-ups will be completed within specific areas as interior finishes progress. All mock-ups, again, will be formally reviewed by the design team and accepted by TSKP. Sheet metal roofing mock-up being completed for review and approval. We have some miscellaneous modifications to do there with an RFI that has been submitted for clarification. Van Zelm continues with the MEP systems, providing field reports and has provided the startup checklist with the MEP subcontractors that are currently filling out. I expect Van Zelm to be on site hopefully next week, reviewing startup reports from the manufacturer as well as their startup report. We do have the boilers and HVAC rooftop units that are going to be started up on the 19th of March. Going down the list, we have site work contractor. This is for Prosser, is completing the building, has completed the building water tie-ins to the sewer lines at the two locations on the west elevation. That is all completed, wrapped up and in. Site work contractor is also installing the final 2 trench drains, one at the north side of the garage and one as we start the plaza slab work. Cast stone and face brick has been completed at the north and west elevations. Masonry, air, and vapor barrier cast stone and brick is substantially complete there on the parapet level of the east elevation as you drive by. Conventional scaffolding has been installed on the south elevation, allowing for the installation of the blue skin and the spray applied AVB. Once that's all complete, they'll be working on installing brick and cast stone on that south elevation. Interior brickwork is finishing up within the next week at the main entrance of the library. Spray foam installation work has been completed within the garage level. We do have to finish up a couple coats of at the columns with the intumescent fireproofing paint. It's expected to finish and complete early next week, allowing us to start the ceiling grid and lights down in the garage level. The canopy ceiling has also been completed, as well as the installation of light fixtures and sprinkler lines. Stair 1 and 2 have been installed and concrete has been placed at all pans. Garage ramp and guardrail system has also been installed. Drywall is pretty much substantially complete throughout the building, as well as interior taping of the joints. We do have some miscellaneous patchwork where we had to go back with our plumber, adjust some things, and our drywall subcontractors back patching it up. Priming painting has been completed on the second level with final painting within select areas. Bathroom wall tiles and floor tiles have been installed on the second level and main level. I believe there's one bathroom left that needs to have wall tile completed. Elevator railings and system on the structural components for that have been installed. The cab completion has commenced. We expect Otis back next week. Once they're all done, we are going to have to finish up those areas with finished floor so we could start getting our state inspection sign off on the elevator. Fire protection, minor adjustments are being made throughout the space to correspond with the required ceilings. Plumbing drainage has been complete. Minor adjustments, like I talked about, because of that drywall line M, are being made in coordination with the ceilings and walls. In-wall plumbing is complete and inspected. Mechanical piping continues to be installed on the second level and the main levels. For final tie-ins, ductwork, same thing. They're about substantially complete with the entire building. Final tie-ins at this point in time are being completed. Boilers, hot water tank, and the RTUs are all installed at this time. The permanent system, like I said before, is supposed to be brought on 3/19. Again, all startup reports, checklists are being completed per the commissioning agent request and per the manufacturer requirements. HVAC controls are continuing with the BMS system requirements. Electrical fixtures and devices are starting to be installed. I should say continuing to be installed where we can. In ceiling grid, we're dropping electrical fixtures. All electrical devices on the second floor have been installed. Fire alarm and comm system installations are ongoing. Major need for Crown Castle for final coordination of that system tie-in. A major element for us to keep pushing forward is getting all the building life safety systems up and running. That means we need a phone line to call out to the police department and emergency services. So Crown Castle is turning into a critical item here for us.
Discuss that for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Had several meetings trying to track this down and get this all straightened out. It was very convoluted. What I'm trying to get approved with the town manager now, and I've got a call with the attorneys tomorrow, is to split that up into two separate pieces, because it is in fact two separate pieces. We have the reconnect up to the systems. Then we have a $200 per month ongoing billing. The 200 ongoing billing goes to IT. The reconnect would go to us. So I'm trying to get that all separated out and all pretty.
That's fine. We do have in our GMP an allowance of $30,000 for Crown Castle. If you guys, that's for the reconnect.
Correct.
That's that $27,000 I saw floating around.
That would fall to you to do that, just like reconnection of the water lines.
That's fine. So that $27,000 plus minus whatever that is, I will cut a purchase order out to Crown Castle when
As I say,
give me the word, and I will cut that purchase order out to them and apply it to that GMP
get
allowance.
that taken care of this week.
Perfect. All righty. Going down the list, we talked about Crown Castle millwork deliveries again started. Installation have slowly started on the second level admin space with the upper and lower cabinets and counters. The delivery of the atrium wood ceiling panels has been completed. We started installing a few. Last week, we brought to our attention, based on the building inspector walkthrough, that there was a potential add for additional 30 smoke detectors within the panels up at the atrium that fall between the glue lam beams. There was a code reference that we might have to install these because of the depth of the beams and the smoke carrying. But TSKP did a heck of a job coordinating with Dwight as well as RZ, and we averted a crisis of having to add 30 additional smoke detectors in the ceiling. But the only problem is it delayed our installation of the ceiling tiles, so we lost our ceiling panels. So we pushed it out a week for our installer because they got put on a different job. So they'll be back, believe it or not, tomorrow to start the ceiling panel installation again. So that was good work. Those are the big custom plywood panels you'll see at the atrium, yes.
The reading room, please.
The reading room.
I don't know where atrium came from. That's the temporary space, is the atrium.
Oh, always called that big
Well,
main level, and you look up the atrium of
It's a
the
reading
building.
room.
Reading room. Got it. Noted.
It's actually the main library. The read room's in the back where the fireplace is.
The main library, stand corrected. All righty, delivery of I'm gonna say delivery of the main library. Wood ceiling panels has been completed. We have the 3-inch glue lamp trim panels. I don't like to call them trim pieces because they are panels. We do have those. We're working together with our subcontractors and some engineers to figure out a way to fasten these big panels to the existing structure. It's pretty tedious. They are heavy. We have a 30-foot span on one of them. It's about an 800-pound, I like to call it, panel. We have French cleats. We have maybe some structural steel elements. So we're in that and we're going through it right now. Aluminum at the upper level windows in the north elevation and west elevation have been installed. Glass installation has commenced at these windows. As you drive by, you can see it on the north side as well as the west. Aluminum interior glass walls and doors have been installed on the second level and the main level. We're missing a couple panels of glass, but that should be here on the 20th of this month. Acoustical ceiling granite tiles in select areas on the second floor have progressed. We got the main corridor taken care of. Ceiling hangers have also been installed on the main level in select areas, which is a pretty good chunk of work for our ceiling subcontractor. Anybody have any questions to date so far on just the Prosser update?
questions for Anthony. Patrick?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Anthony, as always, excellent.
What
I have a couple questions.
you got?
Okay, so that elevator, it seems like that's taken a long time to get done. I thought it was supposed to be done
Well,
already.
So there's phases to the elevator installation. All right. So you have the main structure, the main guts of the interior systems, the rails, hydraulics, all that good stuff. That gets installed first. They usually come back and start building the cab in phases as well. So you put the platform up, connect the platform, and then the third to last phase is the finishes of the interior cab. That's where we are at this point. So once that's done, we have to put the finishes outside within that lobby area, outside each elevator opening to pass state inspection. So there's a couple moving targets within elevator installation.
Okay.
All right.
Not just.
Yeah, it's just not come and go,
Okay.
and then there you have it.
All right, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay, so my other question is with regard to the windows. So on the second level, there's all the, where the roof is and we have all that equipment, all the HVACs and stuff out
Yes.
there. Are those openings, I know they won't have glass, but will they have
Nope.
the aluminum framing
They,
in?
nope, they will have a mesh screen that is provided by our Miss Metal subcontractor.
Oh, a mesh.
So it's
screen.
gonna mesh screen in the opening, correct?
Do you have a picture of that? I mean,
It's a McNichols. I think I was looking actually in the spec today for it. It's like a McNichols product. It's a perforated, almost like metal panel.
Hmm.
Almost
but
looks like
you'll
a.
see it, right?
You'll see it. Yes. Yep.
Why aren't we just doing the frames so that everything looks the same? I mean, that's gonna make it look,
I don't know. That'd be a good question for TSKP.
yeah,
I think it's
Oh.
more for a screen so you can't visually see the mechanical units.
right.
I think, if you did have a white frame with, a fake window looking type of product, you'll still see the mechanical spaces. I think with the mesh screen, instead of, it hides the mechanical, the ductwork, the RTUs and so on and so forth.
You mean you could see that from the street?
You could see it from the west side if you're
Oh,
driving,
from the
if you're,
west side.
yeah, if you're driving down the hill.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jeff,
this design was all done with many presentations to everybody. I think the idea, I think Anthony's 100% correct. The other thing I would just add is that there's still some perforation for airflow.
That's a big one too. Plus we have black EPDM roofing up there with those mechanical units. It's gonna get hot. So yes, that for airflow as well as, to block a visual of the actual mechanical unit itself. That's what's going on those three.
All right. So the front steps, was driving by today and I see that that's all covered there. So does that mean the concrete was poured
The
and
concrete was poured today.
the steps? Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And then the brickwork that you're talking about is when you enter the vestibule of the library and then
That, and then you turn the corner to the south
turn the
side.
corner and
Yep.
there's going to be a brick wall.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you,
Good.
sir. Yeah.
Okay, other questions for Anthony? Any hands up there, Joe? Okay, you may continue. Anthony.
Right, Riley, pedestrian bridge has been set in place. Electrical conduit installations on the bridge have started. Final site work preparations are ongoing. We're starting to excavate and install the swales and gratings along the embankment of Wash Brook. Exterior light poles have been installed. Again, I'm gonna keep this on here. A couple remain to be set. And the remaining concrete and steelwork at the ramps and stairs should be starting this week with layout and excavations and coordination between our site work contractor and our concrete subcontractor. And that's it. Anybody have any questions on the Riley?
Good.
Ready, moving down the list, requisitions, PCOs, update. March 2025 requisition is going to be submitted at the next committee on March 26th. So we're starting to gather all the information from subcontractors and requisitions for that. And shame on me, everybody. I forgot to send to Jeff earlier, this PCCO number 10, our GMP change order number 10. I forgot to submit it to Joe. This is a combination. Did I send it to you? Okay, great. It's a combination of all the approved PCOs from last committee meeting. So I'm looking to move approval on PCCO number 10, which is our GMP change order number 10, in the amount of a credit in the amount of $90,071.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. I'm looking at this. I did not receive it. When did you send this in?
Said that I
Very late.
very late.
It's still warm. Yeah.
So
Hot off
this
the
is
press.
just the, Anthony, sorry, this is just the addition, this, you just added up all the previous ones, right?
Yep,
So
it's all the
that's what this is.
previous PCOs that were approved at the last committee
This
meeting.
is,
Nothing's changed. I can just sign it when you get it to me.
Yes, correct. Nothing's changed. That was my fault, my bad. But I am looking for a credit, approval on the credit.
So it's PCOs 35, 44, 56, 60, 63, 65, 66, and 67, all of which this committee has approved.
Correct.
And the grand total of all of those comes to, you're saying it's a
credit of
I'm
90,000.
looking for that on the document.
Try to look at,
Total amount, credit of $90,071. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have
Yeah, we do.
questions?
Just a comment. Credits are always good.
that was my fault, guys. You could yell at me for that, for getting it late.
Any other questions? All in favor of PCCO number 10 for a credit of $90,071, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Does that go to the owner's contingency?
Budget pending PCOs, again, reiterate the DOT paving requirements. Now that we're coming up paving season, Jason's gonna work with the DOT to hopefully get this $61,000 removed from the project, as well as Manafort. PCO 47, column line 4 modifications, we're still showing a budget there. Need to review a couple things with Berlin Steel. PCO 59 is the bridge sonotube subgrade enhancement per the latest and greatest Welty report. We're still tracking $17,455. Now that we're gonna really start excavating and working around with the concrete subcontractor at the bridge and ramp area, that's kind of been frozen, but we don't believe that this change order is gonna go any higher than the 17,000. PCO 64 is the South Lintel modifications. Jeff had a good catch. I'm reviewing it with Berlin Steel and the consultants at this time still. And PCO 71, which is hot off the press. I got it this afternoon, which is a type 3 soil tops, a type 3 topsoil upgrade. I got a cost from Manafort for $9,388 to upgrade topsoil on the back embankment of the Washbrook area on the Riley side. So I got to do some more investigation. I wanted to put it on the list to be as transparent as possible.
And why? Why are we doing this?
The soils, the soil, original soil type changed from the contract documents to an upgraded type soil. So it's just a material upcharge. I don't know. Jeff, do you know why SLR decided to revise that soil?
Was that on a recent submittal
Yeah,
response?
I think it might have been on the recent submittal, but it also came, I believe, in a I gotta see where it came from and why. I think a directive
Yeah,
came
well-
from SLR on it, but again, I got that hot off the press this afternoon. I gotta investigate it some more and see what's going on with it.
Well, we
Yeah,
will
we'll
revisit
investigate
that
that.
when you have more information.
Absolutely. Again, just want to be transparent as possible of what we're dealing with. There's a couple official PCOs tonight. I'm looking for committee approval. First one shall be PCO number 68, which is our premium time allotment number 2 for an allowance. No cost to the project, but it will be a deduct from the established GMP allowance of $7,782. But I reiterate again, that is a no cost to the project at this time.
So moved. Second.
For approval by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions on PCO number 68? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Chair. Anthony, does this leave any money left in the premium account?
Yes, quite a bit.
Okay.
Yep. The next big hit to the premium time would be our masonry contractor who's been working for the last 2 months on Saturdays. I did get the pricing in today from them to this point in time. I think it's going to be another expenditure to that allowance of $8,000. I put a budget together with other trades of what I feel the utilizing of premium time will be. At this point in time, I think we're gonna be close, but I think have enough allowance money to take us through the premium time on the project.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions? Clark?
So what is this premium time for?
This is differential rate, right? So if they come in on a Saturday, they still own the scope of work. So for instance, let's say,
Just wondering what trades.
right now, finished trades, once we get there on the interior main level of the building, but right now we have, let's see here, we had our Miss Metal subcontractor to get all the stairs in. We had our drywall subcontractor for taping and sanding of drywall, so to get ready for our paint. We had our fire protection system to complete on the outside canopy area to prep for the ceiling that was installed. And then we have, that's really it on this one. But the last one we had was, site work on the Riley lot when we were fighting that, the binder course. But moving forward, you'll see our mason, you're gonna see our painter, our ceiling contractor, so on and so forth, where we feel we need a boost in production. Millwork, the ceilings, the custom plywood ceilings would be another one. So we ran through a budget with hours and man hours with their differential rate. We kind of put a budget together to see where we would land if we worked a certain amount of hours, which was established in our monthly report that got distributed.
Other questions? Okay, all in favor of PCO number 68 for premium time allotment with a net total of 0, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. One more?
One more. The last one is PCO number 70, which is temporary enclosures and a safety allowance. Again, a net zero cost to the project, but a deduct from the allowance that was established of $10,125 with projections and what work we have to do that are on T&M that just haven't been processed yet. I think we still, Bob, have about $35,000 left in that allowance for that work.
So moved.
For approval by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Berman. Thank you. Questions? Okay, all in favor of approving PCO number 70, temporary enclosure allotment for a net of 0, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. The last part of this, we have pictures. You could see here. I'll zoom in for everybody. It's the view from the Riley lot looking at the west elevation. You see the two frames that are installed on this lower level have glass. Right now, we're finishing up some, acoustics is finishing up some woodwork here at the canopy bump outs. Once that's all complete, we should have frames and glass going in next week. All right. The view of the north elevation with the windows and glass installed. You can see up there to the top right corner, those are the mesh screens. Patrick, if you could see
Yeah.
on the screen, you could see kind of what we have here
Oh.
for a design. All right. Going down the list, we have completed the spray foam insulation progress, and we have started the intumescent painting at the columns. This will, once this work is complete, like I said before, will allow us to start the ceiling grid and ceiling tiles and light fixtures within this space. Interior storefront doors going in installed here on the main level, right outside the Children's Center. Continued looking at interior storefronts in a different area, different section. This is at the vestibule area, right outside the community room. A shot of the windows installed from the middle school looking out the north. More interior storefronts. This is looking at the tech center.
It's
And
on
the-
the second floor, I think.
It's on the second floor, yep. And the tiles have been installed in the bathrooms, floor and walls. A shot of the boiler room progress. You can see how congested and tight a space in there with our mechanical subcontractor with all the pipings, breaching stacks, ductwork, everything you can think of. Anybody have any questions?
Questions for Anthony?
Thank you, Lois and Bob, for making the job site walkthrough last week. That was special. It's fantastic.
Mr. Berman?
Yes, Lois and I discovered an issue at Prosser, and I discovered an issue at McMahon. And that's that the bathrooms do not, none of the bathrooms have electric door openers. And this committee way back emphasized the need to make sure that anybody with a walker or a wheelchair had access not only to the building, but to the bathrooms. Even though code doesn't require this, we felt it was important. Somehow that has not happened yet. So I would like to move that we establish PCO from the committee to have one of the gender neutral bathrooms on the second floor and one gender neutral bathroom on the first floor at Prosser be set up for a push button handicap electric access in and out, automatic door opener, and the same thing be done for one of the two bathrooms at McMahon. I think it's vital that this be done, and I would suggest it to be, that we put in the budget an estimate of $10,000 for each unit, which means a total of 30,000, 20,000 for Prosser, 10,000 for McMahon.
Moved by Mr. Berman, seconded by Lois. Thank you very much. Questions, comments? Any hands up, Joel? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Bob. Oh, Patrick.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question, Anthony. I mean, is this, assuming we go through with this, is this work that would interfere with work that's already been done in those bathrooms? Or is this a modification that could be made easily? Or does it require replacement of existing
It
doors?
requires reopening walls, removing a frame, possibly getting a new door frame. Those hollow metal door frames, you got to get a bigger one to support an automatic door opener and the weight. You have drywall. So once, if you do remove the frame, you have drywall patching once a new one goes in, repainting. I don't know what the back side of the gym is, if it's gonna mess up any tile that we have. You got some electrical that needs to be put in the walls for the push button and the operator. And I think that's it. I don't know if the door needs to change. I think the doors might be okay.
Doors should be able to stay the same.
Okay.
Well, let's do this if we can. Bob, I hear you loud and clear. So what I'm gonna do is go back through and figure out if that was a request, why it wasn't implemented, and I'll talk to Deanna and Richard when I get back in the office and figure that first of all. Second of all, then I'll need an email from you guys. You said one general gender neutral bathroom in Prosser or two?
Two, one on each floor.
Okay, each floor.
Need one on each
And then one at McMahon. Now McMahon, there is no gender neutral, so it'd either be the men's or the women's. I don't know.
I-
Then you have to do both. If you're gonna do
Yeah,
it.
because remember McMahon was basically just a renovation because we had more toilets and stuff with the addition originally. And then
I
we
think-
backed all that off
I
just to
think-
renovate those bathrooms.
I think McMahon, both bathrooms are identical.
They're both gender neutral, yes.
They are? Okay, good. Okay.
Okay, so one
All right.
works. Okay, thank
So
you.
I'm
for
just
that.
concerned of why, there must have been a reason why we didn't implement those. So I gotta do some research here.
All right, Jeff, thank you for that. Clark,
Thank you. I appreciate Bob's willingness, but can we ask Downs for a budget on this? I don't think Bob should be doing budgeting. Downs is,
We talked.
oh, I see.
I did, the numbers are not out of the air.
Okay.
They're from Anthony.
Oh, okay. You should give credit where credit's due though. Okay.
That was gonna be my question, if the 10,000 was gonna be sufficient for
well,
each one.
when we get the real numbers, we will have another vote, on whether to go move forward or not. So,
Let me,
Yeah,
let's,
Mr. Chairman, this is Bob Ike.
Mr. Ike.
I'm a little puzzled and confused how we get this far down the road. I'm quite surprised that that's not a code requirement, but I guess it isn't because I'm in the town hall at least 4 or 5 times a day. None of the bathrooms there have push button, and so I'm a little confused why our professionals. This is not in the design, and I'm very concerned at this late stage in the game. And I understand the need to accommodate everyone, but I'm a little bit troubled that we get down this far down the road. Now we're gonna have to tear stuff up that's already been installed, which is fine. But if this was supposed to be in the plan, then I think that trade or that professional should be paying the money, and not the town. And I'm very strong about that. So I would for myself, I would first like to find out from our architect whether this was in the plan.
and Jeff tells us he's gonna do exactly that.
That I need to know before I can vote. So I would either abstain and vote no until I know whether this was in the plan.
Right now, my position is they have never been in the drawing, so there must have been a decision early on to not do them, and I'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
hopefully it wasn't VE.
Yeah, at this point, we're voting on, to get a real price on them.
Okay.
That's what this, motion is. Clark?
Jeff, I just wanted to know, so under the code, the doors are supposedly able to be operated by a person in a wheelchair? Is that, I was trying to just think how this works.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't really done these push button automatic doors to bathrooms, so I'll have to figure that out. I mean, I'll have to follow up and figure this out because we never showed them. If the issue came up early on, it must have been a code issue why we couldn't do it or some reason why it wasn't done. And I'm sure that it wasn't something that was hidden or concealed, then we just didn't do it. I'm sure there was something in the records way back when from the notes, which I'll have to find, that to discuss this issue. If what Bob is saying is true early on, that was part of the programming, that what we needed to do with the bathrooms, then I'll have to converse with Richard and Deanna to figure out what happened.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I just follow up with that? So
Yes,
what Clark is saying, so it's a public building, so the bathrooms have to be able to be entered by anyone, right?
that's correct.
So it's the design should accommodate those who need help getting in and out of the bathroom, right? Am I missing something?
Well, the way it is designed right now meets code requirements.
In the
The,
code,
the
does the
addition,
code,
the
Well, I'll go ahead,
addition,
Mr.
the
Chairman.
addition of power operated doors is above and beyond code requirements.
The doors open both ways.
No,
No.
the door swings only one direction. But there are certain clearances, there are mandatory, pressure, to push and pull, the door. There are limits on that. The code dictates. There's limitations on the size and height of the threshold at the door. So there's a whole slew of things already in the code that are in the plans. I think what happens many times is nobody adjusts the closers on these doors and they become more difficult to operate than they should be, not meeting the code. But in my experience, they are above and beyond the code requirements. So,
Right, so when we do, let's say we don't go with the push button, right, at this time because everything was designed per code, during our final inspection walkthrough, Dwight will put a weight, a measurement tool on the strength of the closer arm of how much force is needed to open and close the door per ADA requirements.
Right. ADA dictates what that maximum pull pressure has to be. I believe it's 5 pounds, might be 3, but I think it might be 5.
Yep, that's one of our inspections that we will have to do.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah.
yeah, Lois?
I am concerned about the weight of the doors and the ability to move them, but I am more concerned about trying to negotiate, regardless of how heavy the doors are, around them. If somebody's in a walker, holding the walker with 2 hands, how do you also hold the door open? Unless when you swing the door open, it stays that way. I don't quite understand how we could build a library that has so much wonderful stuff in it and make it even a teeny bit harder for somebody who's in a wheelchair, on a walker, or using a cane and carrying a pocketbook. And so it will be difficult for me to understand how we could do without those. I'm willing to listen. But I am going to be surprised if there is a way to make that work for people.
I mean, certainly a power operator is better. The question is, how onerous is a door when it meets code requirements? And honestly, I can't answer that question other than I know ADA standards have been well thought out and been in place for a very long time with these standards. And they are mandatory. So it's a good question. It's a good question, and is the cost of bettering these something we want to do? And we're going to find out. Who's up? Allison.
Thank you. I just want to point out the first floor of Prosser, there are 2 gendered restrooms, men's and women's, and 1 family bathroom. So that would be gender neutral, but it's got a kiddie toilet in it. The purpose is for families.
It must be handicap accessible. I don't know offhand. Jeff, is it?
Yeah, but I'm getting really concerned at the tone and that we missed something. So I'm fairly certain that I'll find something in the history of that project through committees and meetings, a reason why, if that was such a strong recommendation to do that, I'm sure we would have done it. So something's going on here. So I'll get to the bottom of it.
Okay. Well, we know we certainly went through cost-cutting exercises during the whole process as well. So, offhand, I don't recall one way or the other, what happened here.
Yeah, I don't think anybody intentionally didn't do something if it was supposed to be part of it. I'm gonna
It
check
definitely
that
would have
out,
been
but-
caught if something was missed, yeah.
Yeah, I'm as concerned as you guys are, so, you know,
Mr. Berman,
Jeff's not gonna have to pay for anything yet until we figure out what the heck's going on, nor should we ever. So, we're all
Thank
working
you.
hard to get this thing done, so we'll figure
Thank
it
you.
out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, yeah, I invite anybody who thinks it, thinks it's not an issue, to come to any building with a walker. And if you're elderly or disabled, if you have difficulty moving without both hands on the walker, trying to get in and out of rooms, any room. I think you will, I think you will find, as Lois said, it's virtually impossible. And try and get up close to a door with a walker, then you have difficulty getting the door to open far enough that you can get yourself out. And then when there's a sill there, even if the sill has a beveled edge, so it's easier to get over it, you still have the issue of the door hitting you, hitting your walker when you're trying to get out. I mean, it's an issue. It's an issue that we need to avoid. Thank you.
more questions? We have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Yeah, I'm abstaining, Mr. Chairman. At this point, I'm abstaining.
All right, Mr. Reich abstains.
And my comments are for the record because I'm concerned that the town hall doesn't have any of these. And that's a public building. And if the town, I just got to get to the bottom of it. I want to wait for what's Jeff's report. Thank you.
Yeah,
My comments are for the public record.
okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Reich. Okay, we're still at the tail end of Anthony's report.
I'm
Any
done.
more questions for Anthony? All right. All right, let's move on to, is Glenn with us? I know Glenn's at a budget
Not here,
meeting.
However, he asked me to discuss some things for him,
Very good.
so. Take this over and share some things. Okay, the first thing that Glenn has asked is a proposal to be presented to supply and install 2 air supply ducts to the bathrooms and new 2x2 ceiling supply grids with flex and fittings for McMahon. These are the bathrooms on the front. Apparently, when they redid the other areas with that new airflow system, they neglected to do the bathroom.
Oh.
Fans, things of that nature. So that's what this is for. It's for $1,350.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Berman, seconded by Mr. Ike. Thank you. Questions? Lois?
Too many.
Does that require any electrical changes?
This is just the supply duct, flex and fittings.
So it's air supply.
We can't hear Lois.
Yeah, we can't.
Just air,
hear Bob.
it's just
I was
air
just
supply,
curious
not
whether it
electrical.
involved any electrical work.
It's hard to hear Joe as well.
It was just air supply, not electrical.
Other questions? All in favor of approving Stafford Mechanical Services in the amount of $1,350, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you. What else you got, Joe, for Glenn?
All right, second, Glenn had an invoice from Anderson Electric. This was for the fire alarm upgrade that he spoke of that was approved at the last meeting. This is the invoice therein for 171638.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions on the Anderson invoice? All in favor of the Anderson invoice in the amount of $1,716.38, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
Then he had the invoice for the Tucker Library interiors for the FF&E for McMahon that was installed at $108,839.12.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
second by Mr. Berman. This is per purchase order number 241247.
Yes, this was for the stuff that we specifically ordered from them for FF&E. This was not DECD.
Questions? Mr. Berman?
Thank you. I don't know if you know the answer to this, Joe. Was all this stuff delivered?
Everything was installed.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All in favor of the Tucker Library interiors invoice for $108,839.12? Please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, the last thing that well, not the last thing. One of the things that he had here was for McMahon, came from Chris. Chris, if you would take over for the CDWG for McMahon.
Yep. This is a quote for the remainder of the AV package for McMahon. This includes a Bose speaker system, microphones, wireless transmitters, a screen beam for casting your screen to the 85-inch display, as well as a camera for shooting hybrid meetings with a wireless and mobile camera. So it's a package that we are looking forward to having not only at McMahon, but as a library, we'll be able to use this package when we are outside the library. So the total for this quote is $3,609.
And it still
That's it.
falls within the budgeted number for IT.
Correct.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Berman. Questions? I did see an email between Glenn and Chris. I know Chris and Glenn were not prepared tonight to give us a whole update on the budget, but I did see that with this, all items are bid and we are under budget on our technology in general. We'll get a more detailed update at another meeting. Other questions or comments? All in favor of the CDWG invoice for $3,609, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes.
And that's all that I have from him, other than the fact that he is under his budget by $32,425.79.
Good. All right. Thank you.
That's
There's-
later on. That's for Prosser. That's later for new business.
All right, Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, just one quick question. I don't know if you know the answer or not, but we talked about the canopies last time and it was 117K. They were supposed to take that to town council to get approval. Is there
Went to
any?
town council, got approved.
Got approved. Okay, perfect.
Okay. Joe, thank you for filling in for Glenn. Let's go to our architect, Jeff.
Thanks, Mark. Last week I issued the site observation report number 10. And let's see, we continued receiving submittals from Downs and trying to respond to those as fast as I can. A lot of stuff flying now out there, so trying to keep Downs moving. Friday at 8 a.m. I'll be at the site to start with the discussion about the lighting of the bridge. And then while I'm there, I might as well just take a look at the wood ceiling and some other things, whatever Anthony and Johnny and Jason want me to look at. So that'll be Friday. Let's see. Should I go into McMahon?
Well, any questions for Jeff on Prosser? Mr. Berman?
Jeff, were you able to determine how the doors by the community room entering the building are working? Are they going to be automatic or are they going to have a electric opener?
I don't remember off the top of my head. Anthony, would you have to know off the top of your head? That submittal was reviewed a long time ago.
I believe there's a card reader.
They're not
I
a
think
card
there's
reader.
card reader
Power
access, but I don't know
operated
if they're
door.
on. Yeah, I don't know if they're operated. I'll have to confirm that.
Because again, my question is how somebody with a walker or wheelchair going to be able to get in that entrance?
I think the only power operated doors on this job are the Stanley sliding doors.
That's at the main vestibule.
Right.
I remember having this discussion a couple times back when everything was being designed. And we talked about the need for people to be, when they come up the bridge, to be able to get into the building at the nearest door, if they have a walker or wheelchair, or even somebody with a stroller. And if that's dropped by the wayside also, I'm concerned. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, you may continue.
Okay, so I just want to add to that. I'll do the research for you, Bob, on that. I just made some notes. But I do know that there's a central control place when you get in the vestibule where you check in, correct? But then what you're concerned about is also activities that are happening after hours in that community room where they may be able to go in and out from that door, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, so McMahon's update. Let's see, I received the canopy shop drawings, which is good. I'm in the middle of review of that. I went ahead and sent those off to our structural engineer to confirm the reactions and the loading make sure his foundations are all fine so that we don't have to modify those drawings. I think he was waiting for those reaction moments on the canopy itself, meeting the foundation. I've actually reached out to a lighting consultant that we've used in the past for the lighting of the canopy. So he got excited. I got excited, showed him the image with it lit up. So we're gonna come together and have a really nice, elegant LED uplights on the columns for both canopies. So that's in process. I also sent those off to the civil engineer to do his calculations on the amount of rainfall that's going to be collected on the canopy so that we can size the overall drainage on the site, because we got to make sure that we meet that pervious site conditions. So I think Roxy's, I think we may be okay there. He's doing the calculation now to figure it out.
Jeff, I thought that was
And
done
other than that-
earlier. I thought that was done earlier, Jeff, when we first looked at the col wall and wanted to make sure that it could handle the rain and the runoff.
Well, he didn't really do the exact calculations until we knew from them the exact dimensions. So he did a guesstimate, he did an estimate. Now we got it confirmed. And that's going to help him determine his design for the site drainage, which all goes back to then writing a letter saying that it's not going to be an increase in the pervious material drainage of the site. So he needed that to determine the exact amount of water. So that's done. So I'm not adding an additional cost to this, Joe. This is just something that we flush out as we go once we get the shop drawings and the working drawings. So other than that, I think that's it. Oh, we were going to have a meeting with Elizabeth. She fell ill. Hope she's feeling well. We're going to have to reschedule a meeting with her and her staff to discuss the children's garden. I think everybody's excited about it, but we want to go through and make sure she's happy with the programming and decide exactly what's going to go in there. Other than that, that's it for the projects.
So the children's garden, I did ask Glenn to share it with our beautification committee. And he said he will be doing that. So I'm not sure exactly when and how that will happen, but
well, maybe I think
their
Elizabeth
input-
should be, okay, go ahead.
yeah, so Glenn will let us know how that's going to happen.
Okay.
Lois.
At one point, we talked about a rain garden as being part of the drainage from the canopies. Is that out of the question now?
No, it's one of my favorite moments, so it's not, I want that to go away.
Other questions for Jeff? All right, Jeff, we thank you very much, and we can
Thank
move
you.
to Doug from Colliers. Welcome, Doug.
Oh, thank you. Good evening. All right, these pretty much same report we always give, but special testing. Tri-State continues to come out and test the mortar and for masonry, the spray foam thickness, storefront window systems. We'll be doing air and water leakage on those. We're getting the reports from Tri-State. They are being forwarded on to the special inspector, Michael Horton. And Horton is submitting field reports as needed. All the reports are going to the building official as well. And currently, we did not receive any invoices from Tri-State this month. Van Zelm for commissioning continues to work with Downs, as Anthony mentioned. And working with Downs and subcontractors with the MEP completion. Again, no invoices from Van Zelm. And move management, the initial move for McMahon was completed on Monday. We moved about 2,000 books and some furnishings, which is about probably a fifth or more of what actually has to come over, but it's a start to get the place set up. And then we continue to work with the library staff on move management, the schedules, and tracking the furniture and that. We received the contract and an invoice for the deposit from Something Fishy for the fish tank.
That got paid.
Oh, you get paid already? Oh,
Yep.
You guys are quick. Just came in today, I think. Question that they had on there is, and maybe this is something for Elizabeth, is who's going to be their contact and as far as selecting the fish and determining the service agreements and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's a question for Elizabeth and
Okay.
staff, so.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I figured I'd ask. Yep. Okay, and that's it for me.
All right, Doug.
Things are going smoothly. No.
Questions for Doug? No, I really appreciate, the move management, and I know you're keeping your eye on everybody's schedule. So
Trying to.
thank you. Thank you for that. Mr. Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doug, does the moving over also include whatever they're moving from 330 Park Avenue back to McMahon? Do you know the answer to that?
I don't know the answer on that. Nobody's talked. 330 Park Avenue is not part of our discussions.
Okay.
I can ask about it, but it's nothing that's ever been discussed while I've been on the project.
I see Chris is there. Chris, do you know anything? Has anything happened there yet? It's part of the move?
Yeah, I'm turning my camera off. I'm having some camera issues. Yes, so there isn't a lot to move from 330 Park Avenue. We're leaving most of it. But what there is to move is the copy machine, which the copier company is going to be doing tomorrow, as well as the scanner system, which I'm going to move myself. So it was pretty light move there.
And that's been coordinated with senior services, so they know about it?
Yeah, I actually spoke to about it last night, and we had shared emails beforehand.
Thank you.
Lois?
Do we know when? I hear about soft openings. And can you tell me what the date is and what that means?
Okay.
Allison or Chris?
Sure. Yeah, we're actually opening Monday, March 17th. So that is the opening, and we are opening with 50 service hours that first week. So we're going full on. It's going to be 6 days during the week, and it's a soft opening in the sense that it's not really a grand opening yet. We're planning on doing them together, but also, just we're going to be finding our way a little bit in a brand new facility, and even the collections, as we discussed, it ended up being a bit more than 2,000. I'd probably say closer to 3,000 books we moved, but we didn't move the full collection yet. We're going to wait and separate them and move it all together. This is just a starter collection to display books and, you know, have materials ready for people. We're going to be full service though on Monday. Yep.
Very good. Thank you, Chris.
That's very exciting and wonderful. Thank you.
That's the date we've been seeing for a while, so held to it. Okay, more questions for Doug? Doug, we thank you.
Yeah.
So we are on to, Joe, we've got, other invoices to pay.
We do with that. We have the monthly invoice for the atrium for March for 16,000.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
Second by Mr. Berman. Questions, comments? All in favor of the atrium invoice for $16,000, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. I just want to clarify that we had questioned, I believe at the last meeting, we had moved money to stay longer there, and I wasn't quite sure of the months, et cetera, but the money we moved did bring us all the way through June. So we're good. What else you got, Joe?
Second invoice for Collier's monthly through 2/28 of $9,836.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike.
Second.
By Mr. Berman. Questions, comments? All in favor of the Collier's invoice for $9,836, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
This is a resubmit from TSKP from the invoice that we paid 5,000 against. I didn't know if you wanted to pay anything further on this at this time.
I would recommend that we do pay the balance on this. We are, Joe and I have been negotiating in good faith with TSKP on their additional services for CAs. We finish up the project. We have not reached a conclusion on that yet, but I don't see any reason to withhold the remainder of this bill.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ike,
I seconded.
second by
16
Mr.
$16,064.40.
Questions, comments? Lois?
This suggests to me that everything is finished. Is that what it suggests to you?
It suggests that they are billing out 100% of their construction administration services.
Yes.
And that's been the source of our negotiating additional services for them, which I believe is legitimate. To the extent of that is to be determined. But the project has gone on longer than anticipated through nobody's fault, outside influences that we are not under control. So I believe additional construction administration fees for TSKP is in order, and that's what's under negotiation.
So is the message that they have completed their work?
No, I think, well, we have in writing that they have not,
Thank
and that we are negotiating for these additional, whatever is additional. I mean, there's still a body of work they owe us. For instance, they will be performing a punch list.
Yeah.
They always owed us the punch list. We're not paying additional for a punch list. But there are additional meetings because the project is going on longer. So that's the source of additional.
So they won't be moving to Miami tomorrow.
No, I think they have more at stake than we do as far as reputation.
I might.
And so forth.
You can't, Jeff. We need those rain gardens. Thank you.
Other questions? All in favor of the TSKP studio invoice in the amount of $16,064.40, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Anybody abstaining? Motion passes. Thank you.
And the last one that we have, and Chris, maybe you might be able to help me out on this from SenSource for Prosser.
It's actually, I'm sorry, I think they build it that way, but it's actually for McMahon. It was the patron counters. We installed for the new patron counters for McMahon Winbury. There's one for each entrance, as well as the labor. We stripped out the cloud application, which we will be paying annually, so the library will pay that. The remaining amount for the LBC is $2,748.80.
So moved.
Can we
Moved by
get them to
Mr.
rebill us with the proper name on there, please?
Sure, I can ask them to do that. Yep.
We can still approve it tonight, and then as soon as I get it, I can pay it, but.
Okay, yep, I'll ask.
Mr. Reich, did I hear you say subject to
Yes, sir.
reissue?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, moved by Mr. Reich, seconded by
I second.
Mr. Berman. Thank you very much. Questions? All in favor of approving the SenSource invoice to be revised in the amount of $2,748.80, please say aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstaining? Motion passes. I reached the bottom of my pile here.
And that is all I have, with the exception of reminding people to please get your documentation to me at a minimum the day before, prior to 3 o'clock.
The chair
Or
has
it will
no
be held
problem with
for-
you holding a deadline and, and sticking to a deadline for everybody, so. Okay, other items from the committee? Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm still waiting to see the electronics request for Prosser, including the screens, et cetera. If you're gonna want to start ordering that stuff, we're gonna need that in advance so we can review it. If we have any questions, we can raise them before the orders start going in. Time is starting to move a little faster now, so please get that to us as soon as you can. Thank you.
Other
Is this
committee
directed
members?
to Chris or TSKP?
Chris,
Whoever's responsible.
Chris and D'Agostino. Chris and I met with D'Agostino. They were supposed to submit some additional, a corrected listing for us to post out on RFQ, and we are still waiting.
Yeah, they're waiting for some information from our IT department. I am pushing that. I'm hoping to get that to them. Actually, Joe, I'll talk to you about that offline.
Okay, and I can see Warren on it tomorrow too.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Joe. Lois?
And I wonder what has become of the weather station.
I believe, well, we've seen submittals and it's been approved and it's, doing.
Great, so it's here. Thank you.
Any other committee members? All right, thank you, everybody. We meet again in 2 weeks on the 26th, and then we will be into April. April 9th, right. We're down to weeks. That's what I keep telling our construction manager. We are down to weeks, right?
Hey, Bob and
Anthony's-
Louis, I just sent an email with Richard and Deanna. So first thing in the morning, we'll dig into this electric door issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
Anthony was making faces there when we said weeks. All right. We have public comments. Anybody out there with their hand up? Okay, we thank you for joining us. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
By Mr. Berman, seconded by Mr. Ike. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. And I thank everybody.
Right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Amazing.